Hello and welcome to Editing with My Wife, now with more words. My name's the Hooded Philosopher and I'm here with Cheesy Loops. Cheesy Loops, what's this episode about?
This episode is about a very interesting black cat.
Alright, so before we go... Wait, what? Oh yeah! There's another cat that's black and more interesting. That's what I was confused about. Like, how did you read ahead? No, you didn't read ahead. Alright, so in the previous chapter, they killed Grolic. Tresca threw her little dagger at it and made him scream pain and suffering as Nathaniel punched him really hard in the face. And then they tore down the arena, so to speak. They screamed at everyone to stop. Who knows if they actually took it? Because they left. Oh, that is not until after they stopped his wife, as we will come soon find out, from turning into a giant hulking monster and destroying everything.
And how did they defeat her?
By putting him into Nathaniel's home. In a bead form, but it'll come out of the bead.
Yeah,
and then it will suffer. It will suffer like it's never suffered before. But that's its own fault. We are on to chapter 12, 10, not 11. There we go. Chapter 10, The River's Flow. In the slip, Draylen sat in the customary place next to the boy. Nathaniel was talking to Tresca. Who was that woman, Tresca, who attacked you back there? She was one of Grolic's wives, Tresca explained. What were those runes she crafted on herself? Draylen asked. Runes on flesh. It's a dangerous and chaotic magic, but when you gain control, you can become something very powerful. Very powerful indeed, Draylen thought a moment. I believe the Resistance told me that one was mine. Should I know this better? Should I know better this power? Is there any Is there any way a reality functions that one should not learn? Nathaniel wondered absent-mindedly. Of course it is important for you to connect to all the magic, to familiarize yourself with what you're capable of, but the magic requires carving into skin. On my world, our captors would scare us out of our homes by screaming while carving into their own flesh. They looked at him confused. He explained. They would carve into their own chests and utter an ungodly scream. It sounded like death. Your world is scary, the boy's hands moved. How did you survive? The mother tree is vast with perpetual full foliage. Besides, we hid well among the other beasts, he said with his hands. He looked back at Tresca. Do you have any crafter's glass? She shot him a look that said, be careful, as she reached into her pocket and handed him a small sack. Where are we going? The boy asked Tresca. We are going to meet a friend named Flo. She spoke the words too complicated for her hands. One of Sloane's inner circle. The story goes that when Sloane first started accruing power, he confided in 4 others. The power he had found being replicated in the tools that were made for them. The hammer's hilt will supply anyone Sloane's wants with any substance one might need. They went back to their town and began disseminating according to his divine will. There was a woman Sloane trusted. Her name was River. The artifact that Sloane gave her copied her, allowing her to be in 2 places at once. Both are her, and the one we will soon meet is Flo. She is kind and sweet and a benevolent leader. The other is Force, and as her name implies, she is cruel, harsh, but still benevolent to her people. The first town appeared on the horizon, Gardenbrook. This city has a school entrance, Nathaniel explained grimly. The boy needs to sleep before we can go anywhere near Gardenbrook. The slip ring slowed to a stop near a forest. The boy's hands said hunt to Draylen. Draylen obliged. Tresca shouted after them as they approached the edge of the forest. Don't bring the kill into home. I'll have a fire waiting outside for you. Draylen walked behind the boy, his eyes on the alert. When the hunters found their prey, a small brown rodent with big teeth, they were following the small creature when suddenly Draylen noticed the birdsong stop. He got the boy's attention and then ducked low behind a low bush. The boy followed suit. They watched a beast drop out of the tree and steal their prey. It sat, gnawing on its prize. It had slick black fur that helped it hide well in the trees. But looking into its eyes, they saw a ring of red around the golden cat eyes. Draylen looked at the boy. His eyes were angry. His hands said, hunt. He knew that he didn't need any other words to get his point across. Draylen smiled at him. I love your boldness, boy, but we must push on. He has the prey. The boy's frustration was evident on his face as he moved his digits to prove a finer point. We are hunted? Fine. But I must hide you in the trees, he said, picking up a stone with one hand. He took it out of his pocket and began shaping the stone into a sharp dagger. As he smoothed the outside of it, the stone became black and glassy. After he finished the dagger, he handed it to the boy, saying, If anything happens to me, get to Nathaniel. I am trusting you, boy. Don't fail me. We need you, and we love you. The boy was in the trees now. He looked down to see Draylen moving in to attack his prey. Draylen shuffled around. He pulled another couple daggers out of nearby stones, slipped a few into his boots. He had been waiting to fight something closer to what he was used to in his world, something familiar. He crouched low and teleported close. The beast was distracted by his meal, and when Draylen took his first step, the thing took its meal into a tree. Draylen teleported into the tree above it and leapt down onto it. The instant he touched the beast, he saw a flash in the red in its eyes. The world shifted around them, putting them into a world that looked like where he was. Leaping onto the creature, he landed. I leapt twice.
Where do you say the other leap?
Right here.
Oh. Yeah, but he touched the beast too.
Preparing to leap down onto it. The instant he touched the beast, he
Hold
saw.
on.
Yes, he was preparing to leap. So when he did, he touched it. The beast's eyes flashed red. He was shifted into another world, and then he leapt down onto it. I don't know. I messed up here somewhere.
So he should be leaping onto it in the first place.
Yes, it should be like this.
As soon as he touched the beast, they teleported, and once they were fully transported, he landed home with his daggers. It's like in the motion of him jumping onto it, it teleported him. So he finished his jump in the other world.
Okay. Leaping onto the creature, he landed 2 daggers into the snarling beast's back. The instant he touched the beast, he saw a flash in the red in its eyes. The world shifted around them, putting them into a world that looked a lot like where he was. It fought and snapped at Draylen fruitlessly and then died. He threw the beast over his shoulder and stood up, his eyes scouring the landscape. He looked up into the tree where the boy was. The boy looked down where he stood. He began to climb down. Draylen teleported to the branch below the boy. He stood ready to catch him when the boy slipped right through him like he wasn't there. This is unfortunate. The boy stopped, looking around like he'd heard Draylen say something. Can you hear me? He asked. The boy's hands were busy climbing down. If he heard anything, he made no hint of it. The boy walked back to the slip ring, alone. Draylen got distracted by a voice. This thing sucks. You lost too? It was a sweet feminine voice. He turned around to see a frail young woman. A vision of the divine seemed to glimmer out of her. The beast took me here, he said, dropping it. Same for me, but I was hunting alone. Children that age are a rarity around here, she said. She looked at where the boy was. The sun hanging in only one spot in the sky is a rarity where I'm from, he retorted, adding, the sun was meant to move. Where you're from? What do you mean? She asked. Draylen eyed her suspiciously. Let's make niceties after we figure out a way out of this problem. Well, I had been hoping to lure the creature, then travel back. She pointed down at the corpse. Well, let's head to my friends. Maybe Tresca can help. Tresca of Love, she said. I had been looking for her when this thing attacked me. How do you know her? Oh, I didn't introduce myself? She brushed off her dress. My name is Flo. She extended her hand for a handshake. He took her hand, saying, I am Draylen, the man from another world. You three have been such a terror to Sloane that my dear force has pushed me away. Draylen could sense her stress from the worry and concern for her loved ones on her face. Then to Tresca, he smiled, holding her hand. holding her hand. He took them, and they teleported to the slip ring. Tresca was holding a weeping boy trying to console him. "Where's Draylen?" she asked. The boy's hands moved out of sight. "Gone?" She looked around. "Where did he go?" The boy's hands were in view. But the boy's hands, now in view, said, "He was hunting the black beast. He attacked it, then gone." Tresca pointed. But Tresca paused. "Was it a cat? Was it cat-like?" she asked. The boy nodded. Her voice took on a grave tone. "What color was the ring around its eyes?" His answer was simple. Red. At Tresca's insistence, he entered the blackness that led into Draylen's home. Draylen disappeared. He went back to where he had left the beast. It was gone, a trail of blood. He teleported back to the slip ring. "Something has changed. The beast is alive." He offered his hand to Flo. "Care to hunt?" She took his hand, and they both disappeared. End of chapter 10. River's Flow. So the first thing that we see is Draylen, Tresca, the boy, Nathaniel, all on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going somewhere. They stop before they head into town because they didn't want to just bring the boy into the town.
Yeah, they got to prepare the boy to be able.
Oh, but before that, they were talking.
They're talking about the runes on flesh.
And they're talking about Flo.
Yes, they did talk about Flo.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, they explained Flo a little bit.
Well, River more.
Well, yeah.
But River is not a character you will meet.
River kind of doesn't exist, but she does.
She is an enigma. Well, the truth is that if we're going to say it, River is Force.
What it seems like is River is Flow and Force.
That's what everyone is supposed to believe, and it could be a possibility. But when a device was created, Flow came into existence and River did not. And everyone, it's obvious. But they are, in some sense, the same person. That's the whole point of what Sloane made, the artifact he made for her.
It feels kind of like a monkey paw kind of deal.
Monkey, what's the negative of it? You're gonna be in two places at the same time.
Yeah, she didn't. Well, okay, that's next chapter, and I don't want to give it away. And I think we could talk about it in the next chapter. Because I had to read ahead.
But you guys don't get to, unless you're watching it the day after I release it or past, then you can.
But,
well,
she still has benevolence no matter which side you look at it.
Yes,
but
she's still trying to be good.
Yeah.
But there's something about Force that she's got the discipline and structure of a military embedded in her now, or something like that. Like she has to have that kind of order. And she does get it.
I have some ideas in my own head of what it is, as a reader, and like I said, we should get into the next chapter because a little bit is more explained about the understanding of Flow and Force. So to leave it
there's a lot more to say to it.
There is a lot more to say to it. And I almost just spewed it all out. So I think this black cat is really kind of a cool little beast.
There's very few creatures that have taken on the substances. And they all do something different. And actually it gets explained fully by River in a couple chapters.
No, it was just explained in the next one.
Oh, is it in the next one?
Yeah, because I read it.
Weird.
Yeah.
I thought we just read the next one together, and I didn't realize.
I found it. Okay, so Draylen looked at the boy. His eyes were angry. His hand said "hunt." He knew that he didn't need any other words to get his point across. I think it's not that he knew. He thought he didn't need any other words to get his point across. Because he didn't get his point across.
Is it on this page?
Yeah. It's right there.
Oh, right there.
So he thought that he didn't need any other words. I think that's the only word that needs to be changed in that whole sentence. Because then Draylon assumes he means no.
I know, but I was just realizing. I wonder if I did that.
Why is the boy so angry? Because he took his...
Yeah, because he lost his prey, and now there's another prey he can have, and Draylon's saying no. A prey that's way cooler to take down. And Draylon's saying no.
But then Draylon says, you changed the whole dynamic of this whole scene by saying, so we are hunted? My whole thought was that the boy was trying to get across that we are being hunted. And that's what Draylon is sitting here. Fine, but I must hide you in the trees.
I don't know what your point you're making.
What is he saying fine to?
He's
now the boy...
Because the boy made a point.
No, the boy...
Draylon doesn't want to be hunted either, is I guess what I'm getting at.
When you made this a question now, you've changed everything about this. The boy's frustration was evident on his face as he moved his digits to prove a finer point. So we are hunted?
It's more like, so we are hunted?
It's still a question, not...
Well, I don't have a problem with the question part.
Yes, but he's trying to prove a finer point.
That finer point is that we don't have to be the hunted ones. We can do the hunting. And then Draylon says, you're right. Is there a better way of saying it?
So...
And with a... The problem is it's the boy, too, so I can't be as clear as I want to be. He's got to be a little bit confusing because his language isn't as developed.
And that's fine. But that sentence does not belong in this little bit here because it's instead of saying he was frustrated that his point wasn't made, because that's the way you have this written.
Yes.
It looked like he was trying to convey that they were being hunted or they were going to be hunted. Do you see what I'm saying? And so he was trying to make a finer point. We are hunted. It can be our prey. That no, is good. It was good. That's a much better fit to it. That still fits everything in here.
Okay. Mwah.
It still says he knew he didn't need any other words. Oh yeah, that's okay. No.
Oh yeah, because it's really he wants to hunt it.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about the red eyes, though. Nobody said anything until...
Well, and the boy wouldn't know that kind of thing.
And Draylon's only been here so long, so...
Yeah.
Less time than the boy, technically. Is this a strange way to invite Flo back into the story? Just kind of... She was out hunting, because that's what she likes to do.
So... We like to read the story out loud before we start reading, so I know I'm saying the right words and right inflections or understanding the right points. And when I got to the point where she says, I'm Flo, I busted up laughing.
Yeah.
I thought it was so...
She just happens to be there.
Interesting.
But it's actually... It's something else, of course.
Yeah.
There's always something else going on. At least that's what I'm trying to do.
The question is, if she was already looking for Tresca, how many days have passed since Grollick's fallen?
1. Well, depending on what you mean by day.
Interesting.
Because on this planet there is no day.
There is no day or
and
night.
that is a big reason why you don't see timestamps anywhere around here.
Oh, jeezy Pete.
You don't see it's the middle of the day or morning or night, and you shouldn't. And if you do see it, there's a problem.
You just go to bed when you're tired.
Yes, you go to bed when you can get into a place where there's no light.
That's unnerving.
Yeah. That's exactly what Draylin would say. That's what he's been saying this whole time. It's not right. The sun should be moving.
I know, he says it in that one line.
Yeah.
A little further down. Alright, scroll down. Speaking of which, I think the hunt with the beast is very interesting.
It's like he sets up for so much disaster, and he couldn't possibly have set up for this disaster unless he had known that the red ring meant something in particular.
Oh, poor Draylin.
The consistently lost friend. That's what he is in this story. I believe that's the name of one of the chapters. Not to mention the lost friend was one of the chapters, and there's another one that's about lost friend because he just ends up going other places, and they need to like get him back. But he figures it out in the end.
The sun hanging in only one spot in the sky is a rarity where I'm from. The sun is meant to move. And he dodges the question.
Mm-hmm. He does not want to talk to her right away.
Yeah.
He has to. Because she doesn't know who she is. But once he finds out she's Flo, he eases up. He eases up, but not all the way. He's still very suspicious. But that's in the next chapter.
No, I think this one was pretty well done. Not too much to have to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Where Nathaniel was reading a book. It's a curiosity.
What?
Did he conjure a book?
He could have, or he was reading the book that Tresca got.
Okay.
For herself.
Are these stories? Because I mean, we've let everybody else know that all these are human beings from our planet.
Until next month, and then they're something different.
Are these stories from the book that he's reading? Is these stories from our world, their world, a combination of the two?
I don't know. It's whatever book they have.
That's an interesting insight.
I would imagine it's from their world. Not much has survived from ours. At least not here.
Yes.
Up in Lystran Kingdom they have it, but not here.
That's an interesting insight there that we can play with.
Uh-huh.
Or they can play with.
Absolutely.
What kind of books would these people write?
If you had to have a soul in this, and if you could pull your soul out, what shape would it be?
A pile of mush?
Like River. If you could pull your soul out, the thing that is you, what shape would it be?
A pile of mush.
From what I understand, hexagons are bestigons. So maybe hexagon would have been better.
I like the teardrop.
Yeah, it's just who she is, basically. It is the hammer, in a sense. I don't know if that's clear.
Yes.
It is that kind of artifact. He gave a dagger to Rokai and a gauntlet to Rohan. And the dagger makes him invisible, and the gauntlet allows him to control people.
Yeah.
Well, it's said in here. Flitted around the battlefield invisible. Well, I didn't say directly. Oh, was that... that's the next chapter. Disregard all of that, and then wait for it tomorrow, 'cause it'll be out tomorrow. We need to go to recap.
Well, we can, but I want to pose the question: what kind of stories would these people kind of write? Yeah,
that's a great question.
These people far removed from our world, what are they writing?
So this was Draylin's chapter.
Yes. Your titles kind of make it confusing sometimes, so I had to think about it.
Yeah, because Tresca's next kill is Nathaniel's chapter, and Nathaniel's last kill is Tresca's chapter. And I kind of did that on purpose. I thought it would be funny.
Yeah. So...
I want to do that. So, questions on the boat.
Questions on the boat. Draylin and the boy go a-hunting. Draylin is an unwelcome guest in a home.
Expectedly?
Hey. How many more times can you type Draylin?
Draylin! It was mostly a Draylin chapter, after all.
I know. I just thought it was funny.
Him being missing from the last two pretty heavily.
So Draylin and the boy ask good questions. Draylin and the boy go hunting. Draylin gets stuck. And Draylin find Flo unexpectedly. Hey.
Alright, thank you for listening.
Have a good day.
Love you. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff.
Bye.